How's it going, everyone? So right now we're looking into set number 6 from filter questions, and let's get started. So this is example number 1, and it is coming from bearings and trigonometry. Let's get started with this one. A boat sails 35 kilometers north from A to B. So it started A to B, 35 kilometers, just like that over there. From B, the boat sails to C, about 65 kilometers, and then it comes back to A, from C to A. Show that the distance the boat sails from C to A is about 79 kilometers, nearest kilometer. Show your working. So when you have something like this, they're asking you to work out the value of AC, right? Or CA, whatever it is. And you can see it's not a right angle triangle. Two sides are given to you, the length of the two sides is given to you, and one angle is also available to us. So this must be 100 degrees, and this means you've got to use cosine rule. So if you're not very sure about cosine rule, please make sure you do some revision on cosine rule. So the cosine rule is a square equals b square plus c square minus 2bc cos of a, and a is the available angle. B and C are two sides. So for example, if you had a triangle just like that, if that was angle A, B, and C, this is little a, little b, and little c. A must be available. Do you see that? Angle A must be available. That's this angle. C and B must be available. Two sides and an angle in between that must be available. That's how you would know cosine rule. And here we do have that. Two sides are available and an angle in between that is available, and therefore you can find the third side. Okay, so we're just going to replace these values here. So I'm just going to call it AC square is equal to 65 square plus 35 square minus 2 times 65 times 35 times cos of A, which is cos of 100. Please make sure you guys put the brackets just like this into the calculator. And we have AC square equals, put that in your calculator. So I have 65 square plus 35 square minus bracket open, 2 times 65 times 35 times cos of 100, close the bracket and close the bracket once again. And that is giving me 6240.099, and we got to work out the square root of it. So square root of my answer is 78.99 kilometers, which when rounded to is about 79 kilometers. And there we go. So we have got 4 marks to do that. And we're going to part B of this one. Work out the bearing of A from C. So when we come back to that diagram, it says bearing of A from C. So right now we know this length, which is 79 kilometer. So it's bearing of A from C. And you see it's this angle all the way around. All right, let me zoom into that. It's that angle all the way around. Bearing of C from A. So if I just draw a straight line like this, we know that this part of the angle must be 180 degrees, correct? So that must be 180 degrees. And we obviously need to work out this entire angle here, the yellow part which I've drawn. So that would be the bearing of A from C added with that 180. But how do we work that out? In order to work that out, we got to consider the total angle here. And what I'm doing, the total angle here, the purple angle is going to be 80 degrees because it is alternate angles. We have 2 north going straight, and therefore it is alternate angle, which tells us if you guys work out this purple shaded angle, if you're able to work that one angle out and subtract it from 80, so the total is 80. If you work that angle and subtract it from 80, we will be able to work out the yellow angle. All right, 80 is the total, and we are going to just work out the yellow angle in that case. Okay, let's do that. So in order to do that, we will use the sine rule. Why are we using the sine rule? Because now we have three sides and one angle available, and we got to work out the second angle. So let me take you here. Here is a diagram. So we have something like this, right? We have something like that. This angle is 100, this is 35, this is 65, this is 79. Just making sure it is. Yes, it is. We got to work out this yellow angle here. All right. Just for our reference, I'm going to name this as angle A, little a, angle B, little b, and this is angle C. So this is little c. Okay. So here we are after angle B. All right. And therefore I will write sine B over little b equals sine A over little a. It doesn't matter which way you write it, it's the same thing. So this would become sine B over little b is 35 equals over sine A is 100 divided by little a here is 79. Cross multiply this. So we will have sine B equals 35 times sine of 100 divided by 79. So sine B equals, put that into your calculator. I'm doing that 35 times sine 100 divided by 79. And that's giving me 0.43630 and a few more decimals. And the value of B is sine inverse of that thing. And you can just type that into your calculator. So the angle B, you can work out the angle B. So sine inverse of my answer is giving me 25.86 degrees. We're not just done with our answer yet, because we have worked out what that purple angle here is, right? We worked out the purple angle. So what is the yellow angle? So the bearing. So bearing, you could write bearing of A from C. What would that be? That would be 80 minus 25.86. And that would be your final answer. So 80 minus my answer, it's giving me 54 degrees, 54.13 degrees. And there we go. That's our final answer. That's how we do this one. So here we have a transformation. Shape A and shape B are shown on the grid. Describe single transformation from A to B. It's going from A to B. So in this one, by just looking at it, you should be able to spot out this is enlargement, because B is on the other side. It's upside down as well. So I would try joining the corresponding sides just like that. All right, I've drawn a line there, and I'm going to meet these 2 points just like this over there and join these. And you can see there is a common point, and that point happens to be 7, 4. So that's the center of enlargement. And you see, it's being A to B. They're asking you to describe it. A to B, it has, it became smaller. Let's say this side, if it's 4 units, the same side on the other side, it's just 2 units. So it has become smaller by a half. All right. And since it is on the other side, it would be negative half. So you would write, it's an enlargement, okay, about the center. What's the center point? 7, 4. Okay, enlargement about the center, 7, 4, by a scale factor of minus a half. It's a half, but it went to the other side, and therefore it is becoming minus. So you have explained what it is: enlargement about the center, 7, 4, by a scale factor of minus a half, and that's how you solve this. Thank you. So here is an algebraic proof question from a past exam paper. 2 integers have a difference of 6. The integers are multiplied together. 9 is then added. Prove algebraically, the result is always a square number. So when they say simply 2 integer, you could just simply come up with n, that's 1 integer, and the difference between them is 6. So the next integer would be n plus 6, right? So the difference between them is a 6. And what are we going to do? We're just simply multiplying them, all right? We simply multiply them, and then we are adding a 9. So when you do multiply them, you can expand the bracket. So that'll be n squared plus 6n plus 9. And there we go. This is a quadratic perfect square, which you can simplify or factorize to n plus 3 the whole square. And this here is a square number and hence proved. And that's it. A 3-mark question. Simple one. All right, guys, so here is another function question. Let's see how this is done. We have f of x given to us, g of x is given to us, and show that f g of x is 4x squared plus 28x plus 40. This is a composite function where we will replace the g of x into f of x. So when we write f g of x, we are replacing this instead of the x twice, all right? So this would look like 2x plus 4 the whole square plus 6 times 2x plus 4. Expand the bracket, simplify it, and you're done. This is going to be 4x squared plus 16x. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16 plus 16 plus 12x plus 24. Simplify this a little bit further. You will have 4x squared, 16 plus 12. You got 28x, and 16 plus 24. You will get 40. And this is your f g of x. And you got 3 marks. Simple question. All right. Now it's part B says solve that when it is equal to minus 5. So we have f g of x. We already worked it out. That's right there. Right. So that is 4x squared plus 28x plus 40 equal to minus 5. All right. If you take the minus 5 to the other side, you're going to have 4x squared plus 28x plus 45 equal to 0. And this is a quadratic equation to be solved. So in case if you're worried about how to solve it and you're not able to solve it, you can always use the quadratic formula here. All right. And what is a quadratic formula? X equals minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So when you use that, you're going to get minus of 28 plus or minus square root of 28 the whole square minus 4 times 45, 4ac divided by 2 times a 4. And you can literally just type that into your calculator and see what you're getting. So I'm typing in minus 28 plus square root 28 square minus bracket open 4 times 4 times 45, close a bracket, divided by 2 times 4. And that is giving me, one of the answer is minus 5 by 2. And the next answer, you just go back to your calculator, change the sign from positive to negative, delete negative, and I'm getting the next answer there. Simple. Okay, and you got another 3 marks right there. Thanks for watching. This question comes from translation of graphs. Let's see how this is. So here we have given with a sketch of a simple quadratic equation. The f of x is x squared. The minimum point is 0, 0. Write down the minimum point of this one. What's happening? We have f of x added with 2. So the whole graph will move vertically up by 2. So the whole graph will simply go up something like that. And this becomes your minimum point. So the coordinate, you just need to write that coordinate here for 1 mark. That would be 0, 2. Instead of 0, 0, it would be 0, 2. Simple. The graph y equals to x squared is reflected in the x-axis. Write down the equation after this transformation. So when you have reflection on x-axis, the equation will be y equals to minus x squared, all right? So you just put a minus outside the function, and that would be reflection on x-axis. That is 1 more mark for you guys. And then they're saying y equals to x squared, which is the normal graph which we have, all right? So that kind of looks like this. This is the graph which we have, y equals to x squared. Y-axis, x-axis. There we go. Now is transformed to give y equals to x plus 3 the whole square. You see that 3? It's inside the bracket and it's a positive, which means the whole graph will move to the left. All right, if it's minus inside the bracket, it is to the right. So this time the graph is moving to the left by how many units? 3 units. So how would you explain this? You would say, as a single transformation, this would be a vector transformation of minus 3, 0 unit. Minus 3 is on the x-axis. That's why we write minus 3 on the top. Okay, so minus 3, 0. It's moving to the left. And there we are. That's it. That's how you solve this question, guys. Thanks for watching. Okay, so here we have a probability question coming up. And let's see how this is done. Here are 3 sets of cards. Set A, set B, and set C. Now, in a game, a player has 2 options. Both options are given right there. Cards are picked at random. The player wins if the total of their 2 cards is exactly 10. So they pick a card, they pick one more card, and if they pick 2 cards, and if they add them up, if it is 10, they win. Which option gives a better chance of winning? You got to work it out too. So the first option is to pick 2 cards from set A. And in set A, the only way you can get 10 is by picking 2 5, right? And we have 1, 2, 3, just 3 5s in here out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. So picking a 5, all right? So the first 5, what is the probability of picking a 5? That would be 3 out of 8. And we got to pick one more 5. So second 5, that would be 2 out of 7. And the word and is there. So this would be 3 times 2 out of 7, which you can simplify it. So that would be, this would cancel off 1 by 4. So this is 3 by 28. That is the chance of picking 2 5s where you picked 1 and you picked 5 again. And if you add them up, you got 10. Now, option 2 here says pick 1 card from set B and 1 from set C. So 1 from set B and 1 from set C. So there's no pretty much space in here to write that down. But if I pick it up, guys, how would it be? What is the probability of set B and set C if you pick 1 card that would add to a 10? If you look at it carefully, you could pick a 4 and a 6, okay? So I'm writing that in red color. Or you could do a 6 and a 4, right? And if you add them up, you would get what? A 10. There's no other option available, correct? So a 4, what is the probability of picking a 4 from here? That would be 1 by 7, because there are 7 cards in set B. And picking a 6 from set C would be 1 out of a 4, right? So this is 1 out of 7. We picked 4, and we're picking 1 out of the 4. Or means addition, so we are adding it. And what is the probability of picking a 6 from set B? That would be 1 out of 7 times, which means you're picking and 1 card out of set C, which is 1 by 4 as well. So when you work this out, you're having 1 by 28 plus 1 by 28, and that would be 2 by 28, and that is 1 by 14. So you can use your calculator and work what this is. 3 divided by 28, this is 0.107. And 1 by 14, in terms of decimal, this is 0.071. So there is more chance of picking and winning from set A itself. Do you see that? So set A is the right option. So this is only about 7%. This is about 10.7%. And that's how you solve this question, guys. Okay, so here we have another question. Let's see how this is done. A circle with center O has a circumference 20 pi centimeter. So the circumference is 20 pi centimeter. All right. The formula for circumference is 2 pi r. So let me write that down, 2 pi r. And we know 2 pi r is the circumference. So straight away we could work out the radius, but we'll do that later. Q is a point on the circle. OPQR is a square. The perimeter of the square to circumference of the circle is square root of a is to pi, where a is an integer, and you've got to work out the value of a. So here I'm saying 2 pi r, which is a formula for circumference, is equal to 20 pi centimeter of that circle, where you can cancel the pi's and the value of r is basically 10 centimeter, which we can say OQ is 10 centimeter. Right, and if you have that, having said this is a square, we could say this value is x and this is also x. And then now we could use Pythagoras over there. And if I'm using Pythagoras, this would be what? X square plus x square equals to 10 square. 2x square equals to 100, which means x square equals to 50. The value of x is square root of 50, which would be what? 5 root 2. Square root of 50 can be simplified to 5 root 2. Okay, now what are we going to do? We've worked out the value of x. The perimeter, all right, perimeter of the square would be 4 times 5 root 2, because we know the length of one side is just 5 root 2. The total perimeter is going to be 4 times 5 root 2, and that would be 20 root 2. So we're saying that the ratio of the perimeter of the square to circumference of the circle, which is already given right there, is square root of a is to pi. So we will put it in a ratio format, and what would that be? 20 root 2, and we also have 20 pi, right? So the 20s can be cancelled, which means if you put it into a ratio format, this is root 2 is to pi. So the value of a is simply 2 right there. And that's how you solve this question, guys. Thanks for watching. So here, guys, this question is coming from exact trig values and can be written as tan x, and where x is an acute angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up with values. So 4 times sine 30 is just a half, minus tan 45 is 1, divided by 2 times cos 30 is root 3 by 2. By the way, you guys need to know the values of exact trig values. Only then you can solve this question. 2 and 2 can cancel. 2 would go for 1 and 2 times. So this will simplify to 2 minus 1 over root 3, which is 1 by root 3. And do anyone remember what is 1 by root 3? And it says we're going to put it into tan of x. So basically, tan of something is equal to 1 by root 3, okay? And if you know that, this would be tan of 30 equals to 1 by root 3. So the value of x must be 30. This again, guys, this is coming from exact trig values. So you guys need to remember all the values for sine 30, tan 45, cos 30, and tan of 30. Only then you will be able to solve this question. Thanks for watching. So here is a question from Circle Theorems. Let's see how this is done. It says A, B, C, D, E are points on a circle. B, F, D, A, F, C are straight line. That's very important. It says B, F, D right there, okay? And A, F, C are straight lines, which is super important. Let me draw that in red. So these are 2 straight lines right there. Okay, DC equals to DF. So that and that are equal to each other. Work out the size of angle X. You see, because they are straight lines, this angle is going to be 24 degrees. All right, so you would write angle BDC equals to 24 degrees. And what is the reason for that? That is angles on circumference from the same arc are equal. Okay, so they are angles from the same circumference and they are equal to each other. So that is 24. And if that is so, these two angles could be worked out. So we could write angle DFC equals angle DCF, which is equal to 180 minus 24 divided by 2. So that is 180 minus 24 divided by 2, giving us 78 degrees. All right, guys, so this is 78 degrees, and this is also 78 degrees, which means, simply put, x plus 2x plus 78 equals 180 degrees, and 3x equals 180 minus 78, which is 102, and the value of x is 102 divided by 3, and that is 34 degrees, and 4 marks is with you guys. Simple question. Thanks for watching. So here is a quick question from indices laws. It says AR to the power of B to the whole power of 4 is 16R to the power of 20, where A and B are positive integers. Work out the value of A and B. First thing to do is apply the power law. 4 will apply to A, and the power 4 will also apply to R to the power of B. So this will be A to the power of 4 and R to the power of 4B equals 16 R to the power of 20. And now, because they are equal to each other, guys, we can, what? Substitute the bases. So we could say A to the power of 4 equals 16. So this is 4th root of 16. So the value of A is just a 2. All right, we worked out the value of A. And we could also say R to the power of 4B equals R to the power of 20. So 4B must equal to 20, and the value of B is just 20 divided by 4, which is 5. And there we go. That's a 2-mark question with you guys. So this is a confusing question, and let's see how this is done from probability. Right, in semifinals of a chess tournament, player A will play with player B, and player C will play with player D. 2 winners will then play each other in the finals. And they have given a probability of A against B, A against C, A against D, and C against D as well. Work out the probability that A will win the chess tournament. So you see how this works is, look at this. A will play against B, and we will have C playing against D. The winner from A to B must be just an A. Why is that? Because we want to work out the probability of player A winning. What would be the probability of player A winning? So from this, it must be A. But from this, there are 2 options. It could be C or it could be D. And then A will play with C or A will play with D. Okay, so how would that work? What is a probability of A winning against B, which is 0.6? What is a probability? So this is for win and this is for win, all right? What is a probability of C will win against D? C winning is 0.2 and D winning will be 0.8 in that case. Right, so we have 2 situations here. The first situation, which we could say case 1, is A faces C. How would that happen? This means it would be probability of A beats B and C beats D and A beats C, correct? That needs to happen for A to win. A will have to beat B, C will have to beat D, and A will have to beat C after that. So that's one situation. And this would be A beating B is 0.6. And this would be, so let me write that down. And this would equal to A beating B, which is 0.6. So 0.6 times C beating D, which is 0.2 times, and then A beating C, which is given here, and that is 0.5. And when you work this out, this is going to be 0.06. Okay, now the second situation, the second is A faces D, right? So how would that happen? The probability of A beats B and D beats C, and then happens A beats D, correct? So how would we put that in terms of decimals? Probability of A beating B is 0.6 multiplied with D beating C is this, which is 0.8 times A beating D is given to you, 0.3 right there. So that's 0.3. Multiply this and you guys are going to get 0.144. Let me just double check on that. Yes. And once that is done, these two situations can happen. We have a big OR in between, and therefore probability of A winning would be 0.06 plus 0.144, okay, will be equal to 0.204, basically 20.4%. That is the probability of A winning the tournament. That's how we solve this question. Thanks for watching. So here we have another question, guys. This is coming from completing the square method because we have it in a specific format and we got to work out and put it into that specific format. That's it. So firstly, what we're going to do is we have to expand the bracket x plus 4. So this will be 2x squared plus 8x minus 5x plus minus 20. All right. And when simplified, we have 2x squared plus 3x minus 20. All right. Now what we're going to do, we have to take a 2 out, factorize this. This is why it's a 5-mark question. It's getting a bit complicated. And then we have 3 by 2x minus 10. And according to the method which I have recommended you guys, we take this value, which is 3 by 2, and then divide that by 2 again. Okay, so 2 by 1. So this means 3 by 2 times 1 by 2, which is 3 by 4. And then we will square it, which is 9 over 16. We have done that. And now what we're going to do is 2 times x squared plus 3 by 2x. And then we will add this value, which is 9 over 16. And then we will subtract that value, which is 9 over 16. And then we write minus 10. If you do so, the first 3 terms will break down to a quadratic perfect square, which would then look like this. X plus 4x plus 3 by 4, the whole square. And then we're going to add this up. Add what up? We're going to add these values up, okay? So minus 9 over 16, and we have a minus 10, and that would come all the way to a minus 169 over 16, close the bracket. And once that is done, we expand the bracket back in, so that'll be 2 times x plus 3 by 4 the whole square, and the 2 will multiply this with the value on the other side. So multiplying my answer with a 2, and that would be minus 169 over 8. And that's it. So if I go back, it's asking you to put it in that specific format where they have not written a and b are integers, right? They have not written that or whole numbers or anything as such. So this would be our final answer. Thanks for watching. So this question is coming from Surds. Let's see how this is done. We have square root of 11 times square root of 22. We got to show that's equal to that. So square root of 11 times square root of 22. You see that square root of 22? We could write it as square root of 2 times square root of 11. Square root of 11 times 11 is just 11. So this is just 11 times root 2. Simple, 1 mark. And now we have a little bit harder version. So this is basically rationalizing the denominator. We have square root of 11 divided by 13 plus square root of 22. And on the top and the bottom, we will multiply 13 minus square root of 22. This is taking the conjugate. If you're not sure what I'm doing, please make sure you go revise rationalizing the denominator, the harder version. So on the numerator, we're just multiplying this out. So this will be 13 root of 11 minus, we already worked that out. This will be 11 root 2 because we had square root of 11 times square root of 22, getting to that value over there, right? Okay, so that's the top part. And at the bottom, we will have, this can be looked at as a plus b times a minus b, which is a square minus b square. So a square would be 13 square minus b square is root of 22, the whole square, which is just a 22, and we subtract it. So at the top and the bottom, when you put it as such, this would be 13 square, which is 169, minus 22, which is 147. So you can see that it's already in this form. We're done, really. So 13 root of 11 minus 11 root 2 divided by 147. And there we go. That's how we solve this question. So here is example number 14, guys. It says describe fully the graph of that. By just looking at it, it is what? It's an equation of a circle with the radius x square plus y square equal to r square. That's the general form of equation of a circle. So here you can see r square is basically your 20. So r is square root of 20, and that is 2 root 5. So that's our radius. So we could write this is a circle. Describe fully the graph. So it's a circle with center 0, 0 and radius of 2 root 5 unit. You could also put it in decimals, but I like to put it 2 root 5 here. And there we go. You got 3 marks. The graph of that, which is a line, and that intersect at 2 points. Use an algebraic method to solve it. This is simultaneous quadratic equation. Simple. X square plus y square equals to 20. And we have y equals to 3x plus 10. All we are going to do, substitute that instead of this y. So we have x square plus 3x plus 10, the whole square equals to 20. Expand the bracket. X square plus 9x square plus 60x plus 100 equals to 20. This is 10x square plus 60 plus 60x plus 80 equal to 0. Dividing it by all 10, we will have x square plus 6x plus 8 equal to 0. Sum is 6. The product is 8. Numbers are 4 and 2, which means the value of x is equal to a negative 4 and x is equal to negative 2. We worked that out. We got to work out the value of y now. And the equation is y equals to 3x plus 10. So we will do when x equals minus 4 and y equals to 3x plus 10. We're going to substitute when x is equal to minus a 2. So y equals 3 times minus 4 plus 10, y equals minus 12 plus 10, y equals minus 2, y equals to 3 times minus 2 plus 10, y equals minus 6 plus 10, y equals to a 4. So there are two coordinates, which is when minus 4 and minus 2, those are the solution. You could put it in a coordinate format or just write y and x is equal to so and so. And there we go, guys. Those are the two solutions solved algebraically, and that's how we solve this question. So here's a vector question. Let's see how this is done. OA is equal to A, OC equal to C. It's already given. It's a description of the diagram. Point N lies on AB such that AN to NB is 3:5. Okay. Find the following vectors in terms of A and C. Give your answer in the simplest form. We got to work out OB. So OB is this yellow line. And so OB is simply O2. And because this is a parallelogram, You can see this is the opposite side, length of opposite sides, and they're parallel, so it is the same vector. OB equals O to A plus A to B, and that would be simply A plus C. That is your OB. Done. 1 mark. We got to work O to N. All right. O to N is this red line, and the pathway for O to N would be O to A plus A to N, but A to N happens to be 3 by 8. Okay, 3 out of 8 of a fraction of AB. Is that okay? All right, so this would be ON equals OA, which is A, plus 3 by 8 times AB is C. So that would be just C, and that's it. So ON could be just written like that. That's it. That's how we solve this question, guys. And let's move to the next part. All right. So here we have something given over here. Here we have a 5th root of p square equal to cube root of m the whole square. Okay, that's an equation. And it says p is equal to m to the power of x, and show that the value of x is that. In order to work this out, we got to work out p in terms of n, right? So let's see how that is done. 5th root means, all right, when you have 5th root, this is p squared to the power of 1 by 5. And when you have cube root, this is m to the power of 1 by 3 the whole square. So this would become p to the power of 2 by 5 equals m to the power of 2 by 3. Okay, how do I now make p to the power of 1? How can we do that? What I'm going to do is the opposite operation. We're going to make this, we're going to write, let me write this down in a different format. Okay, watch this. So this is 2 by 5, and this is 2 by 5, and this is 2 by 3. So on both sides, in order to make this into a p to the power of 1, I am going to do to the power of 5. So I'm going to do to the power of 5 here. Watch what will happen. The 5 and the 5 would cancel off. Okay, so we're multiplying those powers. So this will be p squared equal m to the power of 10 by 3. Remember, this is 2 by 3 times just a 5, so only the numerator will get multiplied. And now, in order to get p on its own, what do we have to do? We will multiply this with a half, all right? So we will also multiply this by a half, so we will have p is equal to m to the power of, we have 10 divided by 3 multiplied by a half, so the half and the 5 would 10 would cancel, and this would become 5. So this is 5 divided by 3, and that is exactly what the value of x is. And there we go, we are done with that question. Thanks for watching, guys. So here is an example. A rhombus is drawn on a coordinate grid. One diagonal of the rhombus has this equation, so this is one diagonal, and the other diagonal passes through this point. So we have, let's just say this is one diagonal and it has got the equation y equals to half x plus 3, and there is another diagonal like this. But remember, guys, the diagonals of a rhombus, they bisect each other and they also form a 90-degree, although this is not a accurate diagram, and it is also passing through 1, 7. Find the equation of the other diagonal of the rhombus. So if this is L2 and this is L1, we got to find the equation of L2. All right, so firstly, the equation of L2 is in the form y equals to mx plus c. This is quite simple question. Gradient of L2, ML2, will be the negative reciprocal of the other gradient. The gradient of the L1 is a half, so the negative reciprocal will be just minus 2. Okay, so the equation will look like minus 2x plus c. And into this equation, we are substituting the point 1 and 7, which will then look like 7 equals minus 2 times 1 plus c. 7 equals minus 2 plus c. The value of c is 9. So the equation looks like y equals minus 2x plus 9. And this is the equation of the other line. That's how we solve this question. Thanks for watching. 7 equals minus 2 times 1 plus c. 7 equals minus 2 plus c. The value of c is 9. So the equation looks like y equals minus 2x plus 9. And this is the equation of the other line. That's how we solve this question. Thanks for watching.